tokenol. Where did my tokenol go? Here. So over here, and something that you probably do know if you watch leather making enough. When it comes to edge burnishing, especially with hand burnishing, there's a couple key ingredients that really drive up the quality of edges. Tokenol and canvas. Canvas is one of those things that you can't go wrong on. Hobby Lobby for me is what I do. That's just a good old-fashioned plug for Hobby Lobby. They don't pay me none of that. Just that is where I go to get my canvas. And so we're just generously smearing this on the edges here, getting it to soak up. And all the places that we put it on, friction. You're going to hear a slight popping sound, and that popping sound is going to let you know that that edge is ready. We're looking for the smoothness of that edge, and it's really starting to get there. All right. Just a little bit more. You'll see that that edge is starting to shine a little bit, and that's what we want. We want to get that nice and well flavored. And this only takes a nominal amount of time, honestly. Getting this on here, really getting this soaked into the edges, and then the actual burnishing part, seconds. And this isn't going to give a mirror shine. It's not meant to. It's meant to give a worn, well-used shine that seals that edge in. And truth be told, if we're talking about edging, this is going to last several years before this needs another edging finish. And again, that's okay. Leather isn't meant to last forever. Leather is meant to be worn, used, refinished, taken care of, and eventually retired or replaced. Eventually. The idea with leather is that because of the nature of it as a product, it lasts for a lot longer than other items of this nature, and it really is beautiful. And if you can get your hands on old leather, it can come back to life if you take care of it a little bit. just a little bit there. Not bad. And that's our first piece fully done as far as leather preparing and cleaning and all that fun stuff. And our next piece is going to be this beautiful strap. Really like that dyed right into the one of the areas of the leather that wasn't great to begin with, so it just gave it a little bit of character right in the middle. And you get to see it later. And that's the beautiful thing about leather. Leather, as I said, is not meant to be perfect. It is meant to hold memories, meant to hold the process of its creation. It's meant to hold all sorts of fun little things. And overly perfected leather it becomes sterile. And that's what I love about this. This isn't sterile, this is characterized. It's not uniform, it's a free-flowing art. And so it truly becomes art. It doesn't become somebody's perfected design perfectly. It's definitely not a perfected design for me. It is a design that is free-flowing and allows me to make things in new ways every day. As you can see, I'm just using a thin bead right on that edge. And that thin bead becomes the bonding agent for the edge of this leather. And it's nice and smooth. Notice I'm switching to use my thumb. That allows me to feel if there's any places, because this finger has been used to dip in the toconol. Using my thumb allows me to see the smoothness and the quality of that edge as I'm going down it. I always love those end pieces because we use the cutting tool. It gives it a really, really nice end quality and a shine that just can't beat it. Got about that much there. That isn't done yet, so thin bead. And you can't get the feeling that you get um, on the thumb that I'm using with the gloves on. You literally have to do this gloves off if you're gonna get the right feeling on it. There we go. And that gives us another finished piece of leather. And we're just wiping any excess off the edges here. And that is another beautiful, beautiful piece of leather that is ready for the next step in our process. Okay. Put these up here because this is bigger. Go. Very nice. It's getting enough on that corner, just really. Eventually, one day, I'm going to get a burnishing machine because this is these are a lot of leather pieces, a lot of leather working that I'm plan on doing. So the burnishing machine is going to be a nice help eventually, but for now, being patient and doing tokenal edges is very nice. Speed up that edge though a little bit. And the friction is what closes this, so I want to make sure I'm going fast enough. Go. Very nice edge on there. And the nice thing too is that the way these edges come out is that it keeps that edge or the antique, the darkening in that some of those areas. So it gives it a deeper color and definitely a more worn look, which is what we're going for. You get that slight pop at the end of each stroke back and forth. So again, not pressure, just friction. good there. Bad, not bad. Yeah, my old edges were completely unfinished, and Tokenol is one of those things that really changed this process for me. And it's our last edge. There we go. Very nice. All right. There it is. There is our completely finished leather. This is going to be a gorgeous finished piece. All right, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to pick which side that we want. Now, this is going to be there, I think. I want to keep this in. I like this. Just the depth, and looks like a stain. Looks like, I mean, it is a stain, but it looks good like that. I mean, we could even do that, or we could flip it like that. You know what? I think I like that more. It's gonna give it. It's got the dark spot up here. It's got this in the middle. It's got that across the front, and it gives it definitely a more antique wood vibe than some of our other things here. So it's all said and done. This piece is going to be centered right there. And that gives us very nice centering on that. So, okay, we gotta pick out our tools here. Now I'm adding wall grommets to this. So this is gonna be 2 grommets. These are I believe those are the back ends actually. These are the front pieces. You can see that they are much taller than the other ones. Let's see if I can get that in view for you. And what those do is they sandwich in there, and then they're pounded flat. And it's going to be counterintuitive because we're going to be pounding into the front side of the leather. So it's going to be interesting. But the little spot we've got for it that actually keeps it safe. So these are the tools we're going to need, and very easy setup, very simple setup. $3 for these 2 pieces, and another $3 for the grommets themselves. So very simple, very straightforward. And we want one of the grommets to be slightly larger, or we want the punch, the hole punch, to be slightly larger than the grommet. So we actually didn't want this to go through, which is exactly what this is for. I sized this already previously, and that's going to give us a nice hole there. Okay. Line this up here. So what I'm doing is I'm actually lining this up in the center of this square underneath, not the piece of leather. There we go. Okay, right there. First time I did this, I was so scared that I ruined the leather, but these come out perfectly, so nothing to worry about there. You can see these nice little discs of leather that pops right out. And we're gonna flip and do one more, and this will give us pretty much exactly the same width and height as the other side. Just double check. Down just a hair, and we're set. And you have to turn these to get them out. But look at that. We have two, these will be the top, but we have two perfect holes there. Just right for what we're making. And this is going to go through the front. The thick side goes through the front on both of these. Now I'm going to position the little black backer piece underneath. And set that in there. And we're going to use the thin side, and that goes over the top and holds that in place. Now, it pops in, but it's going to take a second. Now this is where it's counterintuitive, is we have the back of this down, and then we hold this in place using our stopper there. And then 1, 2, that's it. Keeps that perfectly in line. The front is a beautiful grommet. The back has a curled over edge. I'm going to see if I can show that to you. And there is no, as I'm running with my finger over that, it's completely smooth. There's no issue there. And we're going to do the same for this second one here. So we're going to slide the thick part through the front, flip it over, put it on our backer so that there's a little divot in the backer so it holds it. And let's see if we can't get this one to slide in place here. There we go. Now put this on top. Hold it so that this doesn't hit our fingers, it only hits the post. And 1, 2, that's it. Obviously I'm hitting hard, so there we go. And that is our grommets, and they look pretty dead on right there. And that'll be a great looking piece once it's finished. All right, now I'm gonna put away our grommets here. And now we're going to start working with our hole punches. So we're going to find out what our center point is for these. And we're going to see if this lines up. Yep, it does. So we're going to do this right here as our first one. We're going to go up slightly because we want a little bit more room right there. and we're just driving straight through. I've tried all sorts of ways to get these to seat well, and they don't. So you have to do them flat. If you try to bend the leather first, it doesn't work. If you try to do anything else and move it, it just doesn't work. So we're just pulling that, and that gives us our 2 holes directly there. And immediately we're going to do our next riveting sequence. We're going to take our antique copper rivet, it's 2 of those, and we're going to get those in place. And the reason we're doing that now is because this can be difficult if you're trying to get these to seat properly. Well, this has a little bit different diebacker to it. So you'll see there's a hole on either side. We find the hole that this one fits in comfortably, which is actually going to be the larger hole on this one. Surprisingly, thought it was going to be the smaller hole. So these fit in here, and then you pound them flat with a little backer through it. So we're going to start with that actually. Move this part up here, and we're going to go right through the back on this one, if I can find the hole. Make sure we're relatively even there. And we're going to find our little stopper. We'll put the other one through. And our other little stopper. Okay, put that through. Get it seated in our first one here. And make sure that this is straight before we pound this into place. Okay, thing is where we want it. To move the die. All right. And that gives us a nice solid piece of leatherwork there. And now we move our second one in to create our first loop. And we want this to be as even as possible. So we're going to go there, get our punch. Okay, just make sure that we are even and aligned here, because this is going to be the foundation of our entire piece. this really is going to look nice when it's done. And that's the beauty of being able to adjust the holes as needed, because that gives our leather the direction that it needs to go. Okay, get another backers and there we get a little clean on, a little piece of canvas. So the nice part is these are slightly movable, and the mink oil actually lubricates this to allow a little bit of flow. And to keep these in line. Just gotta see where I'm putting in the, there we go. And this has a little divot on the end that holds that rivet in place. It's going to be even across the top, as much as possible, of course. And that's going to give us another loop that is just about right. That'll give us 3 pretty darn good loops there. In all honesty, I could cut the ends of these and you know, make some other adjustments, and I can in the future, but with these, I like the single strap. Gives it more of a, this is what I had to work with. Vibe, and I like it. There we go. So we're directly in line with each other. So we just need one more post, or 2 more posts and 2 more front covers. Okay, and we're just pulling that slightly in so that it seats slightly off to the side there. unseated. If you're paying attention, I just hit the wrong side and it still worked, which was fantastic. And we got a couple really nice loops there. And you know, the way I made these was actually, it's funny, there's a little bit accidental, but it gave me 3 different sizes of loops, which works out in my favor. Got all the way down into the mat there. All right. Okay, let's see, we got the front, got the backers. All right, and we're just pulling that till we get it even. This underneath. Put a little rounded end there. And drive it home. All right. And look at that. Beautiful, beautiful piece that's almost complete here. So we've got 3 loops. This one's actually the big one. I like that. These two are comparable in size. This one is a little slimmer. This one is a medium and this one is a large. Technically, this one's a little taller than this one, but that's okay. You're not going to see it. Looking at it straight on, you can't tell. So it's going to be a beautiful finished piece here relatively soon. So part of what we're going to do is we're going to look at this and see what fits best. And I really like that right there. I mean, I can flip it around and look, but that clashes there, and I want to see what that looks like. All right, we're going to I'm not even going to use the hole puncher. I'm not going to use the hand punch. I'm going to use the little puncher I've been using. And so what I'm going to do, you're going to see that I'm actually going to take this in just a smidge. So here and then down. Okay. You'll see I did go all the way through both pieces. Now lining that back up with top edge there and our top edge there. Now, instead of trying to fold this and do this the more difficult way of back and forth, I'm simply just going to slide this. So we're sliding it this way just enough so that this one is towards the edge, and it's about half the distance here of that hole. And so it's 1/8 of an inch, maybe. Now the reason I'm doing this is so that once we get these in line, so we're going here and here and then just in a titch. Down slightly. There we go. And then do this one in line with that one and in line with that one. All right, and those are the 4 main corners. Now what we want is we actually are going to want this to be slightly centered here. And what that's going to give us is a slight bend. That creates even sides, and it allows for these to go in well. And that makes this pretty very simple. So this will be our starting point, is that center mark there. This one comes in here. And yeah, you could, if you really pushed, you'll be able to push stuff out the bottom, but you're not going to really be pushing on stuff. So notice that I'm doing this entire piece only with rivets. Go. We are just about finished. We only have a few more rivets to do, and we will be set. All right, we're going to need our backing. The way you do these is important because it's going to cause your piece to either sit correctly or wobble. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, that's 6 of them. 7. Four. Just doing this now because it's easier to have them beforehand than try to find them later. 6 and 7. Take these, put them away just to kind of keep our surface area clean. All right. Stick that through. Sure we're relatively lined up here. And we're backing underneath there. This over here. And 1, 2. That's it, just 2. Gives us a nice flat edge there. Notice that I'm not bunching this up yet. We're going to be just inserting these. And this needs to be on the other side. Go. Right. One more. And now we push a little bit. It's going to push up that way just a touch, just so we get a little bend right there. I can push this one again, just a touch. And that is going to give us a nice finish here. Go. And that bent it for us just enough to give us that right where we want this side to be. So we're just encouraging this leather to take a shape. See how that has now folded that center just a little bit? Now we're going to be able to do that to this edge, and we will have our pocket. That does not sit flat on this on purpose. Okay. That into our die backer there. Should get this Nice and centered. There we go. And for our last hole, just enough pull towards the center to give us that. There it is. And that is our finished piece with our finished pocket. Look at that. It is a beautiful, beautiful piece made out of one piece of leather. Holds nicely, sits pretty flat, and if it doesn't sit quite flat, we can always move it. Now let me show you what we do with this. We've got our leather pouch. This is a utility leather that I just made into a pouch for tobacco. Have my pipes here. That'll sit very well. We can always move this over to a side if we need to. And if it's too large, I can always make it shift and move as well. Let's see. I've got a pipe rocker that I want to stuff in there. That'll sit great. Got our little tools. I'll hold it up here in just a second so you can see our tools, how everything fits, and just the fact that this pocket is exactly what we need it for. And that holds everything together beautifully. And that is such a beautiful piece. Look at that. Well, thank you for coming and joining this build with me today. It's been a fun time.